Here's 5 talking points from Manchester United's 1-1 draw in Turkey with Fenerbahce last night. Number 1, Andre Onana. Look, I mean, first and foremost, I think he was pretty much our best player last night, it has to be said. Kept us in the game. And of course, the standout part of his game last night will be the double save. What an unbelievable double save it was. And he made more than them 2 saves in the entirety of the game and kept us in it on a number of different occasions. But zooming out a little bit in relation to Onana, I think he's really starting to settle in as Manchester United's number 1. There was a lot of criticism on him last year. And look, we've spoken on numerous occasions about how we need to give players time to settle in to Manchester United. We know how much the number 1 spot at Old Trafford is scrutinised. And it's one of the most scrutinised positions in world football. He's really starting to settle into that role. He's starting to dictate. He's starting to, I think the big criticism last year was that he wasn't saving enough. He wasn't making enough saves. And we were coming off the back of having David De Gea, one of the best shot stoppers in the world over the last decade. But I think Andre Onana is starting to show that as well. In relation to his distribution, look, we know he is a very good ball-playing goalkeeper. But I think he's upped at another level, and I think the tactics in the last few games especially have allowed him to do so. I've noticed it a lot more since Lisandro Martinez has gone out and played left back, that Onana is stepping out and nearly becoming another centre half to create that extra man when we're in possession. When we're going forward, obviously we spoke about Lisandro Martinez. He tucks in maybe as a back 3 with the low going high on the right hand side. And Andre Onana nearly makes up, that back 4 when we're in possession. And it does give us that extra man. It does give us the numerical advantage when we are in possession. And, it's something that I have noticed in the last few games. And it's something that I am really pleased with. It's going to, take a lot more consistency, not just from Onana, but obviously from the entire team for, real good praise to come. But he has started this season very well, in my opinion, and he's given us that foundation, along with the defence, which we will get onto in a moment, to hopefully over the next couple of seasons go on and be successful. But I think the early signs this season of Andre Onana have been really good, and I've been really, really pleased with him. Number 2, De Ligt. Look, I really like De Ligt. I've been saying it from early doors, and again there was some criticism throughout the summer. A lot of it was nice from opposition fans and idiots like Graham Souness, saying that, why hasn't it worked at 2 other clubs, and United are going for a second tier, and Graham Souness even saying that he was a lightweight centre half. I mean, what an absolute idiotic comment when we seen what he done last week, with his head. And look, let's get away from all of that. I've been really, really pleased with De Ligt, to be honest with you, especially since the international break. He did pick up some criticism from, I suppose, his international journalist, when he was playing with Holland. I think he got substituted, but for Manchester United he's been very good, and he's starting to find his feet, and he's finding it early doors. When you consider we're only a couple of months into the season, he's starting to put in a really high level of consistent performances, which is good to see. He looks like a leader at the back as well. I like to look at defenders even when the ball is up the other end of the field, if the camera pans to him, and he's always pointing, he's always talking, he's always organising, and it's something that probably has been lacking an awful lot within the Manchester United defence over the last few seasons. Look, we know Lisandro Martinez is capable of doing it. I think he's more blood and guts and likes to get stuck in more than organising players around him. So I've been really impressed with De Ligt, I have to say. And again, look, I'll go back to what I said about Andre Onana, and this is the team in general. We need more consistency, but I think the defence in general has given us a lot of consistency this year. There have been games where we haven't been good, but we're starting to see maybe a settled back 4 and a little bit of structure about how we want to play. I think Lisandro Martinez going out on the left hand side, like we mentioned previously, a left footer at left back gives us a lot more options, it has to be said. We mentioned it a few times on some of the live watch-alongs that Martinez is not your traditional fullback. He doesn't overlap when the ball goes forward. He tends to tuck in and make a back three and allow Delort to attack on the far side, even if the play is advancing up the left-hand side for Manchester United. And we see when he tucks in as a back three that he's defending that inside left channel, which he tends to do as a centre-back anyway. And we know his range of passing in terms of breaking the lines is really good as well. So, again, I'm starting to see a few things within that defence that I'm really pleased with. Structure. It's starting to get settled, it has to be said now, albeit, we do have some injuries there, the odd injury here and there where, Martinez has to go out to left back. But if we're talking Delort, Matraoui, De Ligt and Martinez, it looks pretty established at the moment. And you would hope it's only going to improve with the likes of Lenny Yoro to come back in, and then as well Luke Shaw and Malacia, and how fit they can stay. But so far, I'm happy enough with the improvement from the defence. Number 3, Ugarte. Now look, we know again the criticism came for Ugarte after the Spurs defeat, and rightly so. He wasn't the only one, but he had a pretty bad game. This was the first start he's had since then, and it's been by far and away his best performance in a Manchester United shirt. Again, I go back to what I've said previously about allowing players time to bed in and to settle, and I think that's one of the main reasons why we've seen Ten Hag in the past not throw players straight into the team. There are some circumstances where he has to do so, De Ligt being one of them, for example. And we've seen Joshua Zirkzee had to play a lot of game time when he first arrived at the start of the season because Rasmus Højlund was injured. But Ugarte has been taken out of the team a little bit. He hasn't played, he's sat on the bench, he's watched, he's trained. He's obviously been learning and understanding what is expected from the coaching staff and the manager. And we've seen an absolutely fantastic performance last night. He was up there with man of the match alongside Andre Onana from a Manchester United standpoint at least. And of course, the plaudits are going to come for that block on the line. What a world-class piece of defending it was. Just to sniff out the danger and to be in a position where you're already going for the block before the ball comes to the defender's foot. It was absolutely fantastic. Not only that, he put in some really, really good challenges, and he broke up a lot of the play coming through the middle, and some of the threats that Fenerbahce posed. And I think it forced Fenerbahce wide an awful lot more than people recognised. Fenerbahce seen the danger quite early on, not the danger, but maybe the lack of opportunity within the midfield, and forced themselves wide a lot more through Alan Maxman on the left-hand side. So it was a really, really good performance by Ugarte, and one that will give him a lot of confidence going forward. Again, look, he's going to have to continue these performances, and being realistic, he's not going to play, the same week in, week out as he did last night against Fenerbahce. It's, again, he's bedding in, new country, new team, new teammates, new philosophy, new language, everything like that. But, the signs are good if last night's game is anything to go by. Number 4, lack of goals. Now, that's the end of the positivity. We're getting into some of the negative stuff now, unfortunately. But the lack of goals is just a major concern still for Manchester United. Look, there are going to be games like Brentford on the weekend, I think, throughout this season where, there's positives and the forward line all plays well and so on and so forth. But we're still relying on goals from Christian Eriksen, I think, is our top goal scorer this season. And all credit to him, he's getting into areas where he's getting goals, and, his own individual performances have been fantastic. But from a forward line and from an attacking standpoint, I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. I honestly don't. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope, the likes of Rasmus Højlund can, we're banking on Rasmus Højlund to be a 20-goal-a-season striker, something he's never done in his career before. We've got Marcus Rashford, who we don't really know what we're going to get game to game, let alone season to season. We know he's got the capability of putting in a 30-goal-a-season performance level, and we also know that he can go through a season like he did last year and do next to nothing. We've then also got Garnacho and Ahmad, who are complete rookies still and are very young, and if they were to get into double figures this season, it would probably be a big achievement for them. And then we've got Anthony, who's absolute dog shit, let's be honest. So I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. I think it's going to be a very disappointing season when it comes to goals scored. We've seen already in the Europa League that, you know, they're not free-flowing, and I think we've already got a negative goal difference in the Premier League as well. We need somebody to step up to the mark. If it's going to be Marcus Rashford, then brilliant. You know, Rasmus Højlund had 16 goals last season. He needs to get to a minimum of 20. You look at opposition teams within the Premier League, and let's be honest about it here. You know, let's look at every team around us, you know, or that's up there. Obviously, City have got Erling Haaland, probably 40 goals he'll score this season in all comps. Liverpool have got Salah, 30 goals probably. Chelsea have got Palmer, probably another 20 goals. Who else have we got there? Arsenal, Saka, you know what I mean? I like, there's goals in every other team, and I don't see it in this Manchester United side. And has that been a mistake by Ineos in their first transfer window, where we don't go out and get an Ivan Toney? You know what I mean? Or are they playing the long game and hoping that the likes of Rasmus Højlund will be that goal scorer for us in the next year or two, and put your money on the young up-and-coming player? I do think the potential is there for Rasmus Højlund, but from this season and for the short term, it's a big concern. It just is a big concern, and it's one that I don't see being fixed in the short term, unless the likes of Rasmus Højlund just completely explodes and goes on a 25-30 goal a season campaign, and likewise with Marcus Rashford. But outside of the two of them, I don't see anybody getting over 20 goals this season. I really don't, and it's a big, big concern. And number 5, 9 points needed. Obviously, this is in relation to the Europa League, and we go into the next few games that we have to be winning. It's as simple as that. I think we sit 21st in the league table at the moment. There is obviously the possibility that we get into the top 8 and automatically qualify. However, you know, the 16 below that, I think is probably a realistic aim at the moment. But we go into games against PAOK now of Greece in the next game in 2 weeks' time. Then we've got Boda Glind, I think is the name of them. And then Victoria Pilsen, I think, is the other one, or Pilsen, whatever their name is. 9 points. We have to get 9 points from them games. You know, Rangers in January is going to be a difficult enough game, and, you know, you don't really want to be going into that game needing a win. You would like to have 9 points on the board between now and then in the Europa League to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room where you don't have to be relying on... Look, I mean, it's not ideal, you know, that we don't finish in the top 8. I think we should be finishing in the top 8 for, you know, whatever about the stature of Manchester United. But I think the squad alone and the talent within the squad, there's no way Manchester United are the 21st best team in the second tier of European football. You know what I mean? We have to improve, and we have to get 9 points on the board in the next 3 games. And, you know, let's see what happens. If we can go into maybe the final game against Rangers then, and if we get a win, we will qualify automatically in the top 8. Absolutely fantastic. You don't want to be going into a qualifying game to try and get into the quarterfinals. But yeah, like I said, the next 3 games in Europe are absolutely vital. And I think we need to get 9 points from them, or else, you know... Now, look, again, we know the way this campaign runs and the league table. We have to finish in the top 24. Now, I think we need to sack off the next 4 games to not finish in the top 24. But I do think we need to make a real push for that top 8. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys, on all of the talking points we went through today. Get your comments in below. Let me know what you think. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you on the next one.